What up, what up, what up? Welcome back for another episode of Keeping It Kingdom. Remember, Keeping It Kingdom is not just a saying, it's a lifestyle. And today I am excited to talk about something that I believe, because of the Kingdom Connections, God has just been so kind to allow me to be a part of, to support. And so today you're going to get to hear about a cool ministry event that is coming up that my sister in Christ, Miss Ashlyn, has come to gracefully share with us. And so, hey, welcome, Sister Ashlyn, to the show. What's up, sis?
What's up? Thanks for having me. I'm happy to be here.
Yes, finally got you back on the show. Let's go. Well, look, there's a kingdom connection that we have, and here at Keeping the Kingdom, we talk about a kingdom mindset leads to kingdom connections, and kingdom connections lead to kingdom relationships, and kingdom relationships turn into kingdom impact. And we both have the privilege to work for an amazing organization called Fellowship of Christian Athletes. And you came on staff, and man, you've just been killing it. The ladies love you, and rightfully so, because since the day I've met you, you've been nothing but a blessing as a sister to me, and I'm thankful to have you as a teammate as well. And so let's just hop in real quick before we go too far. Most may not have seen the first episode and really know who you are, but just give them a quick intro to who Ashlyn is, and maybe even just share, for some of the young ladies that may see this, like, how did you come to Christ? And then we'll jump into some of the ministry stuff that we get the opportunity to do, which will then lead into a ministry event that's coming up that I'm excited about, that I don't even get the chance to be there. So it's all good. But we're going to be praying for y'all and supporting y'all from afar, down the street. I might be in the parking lot to, direct traffic. I might be security, show up, as a brother in Christ. I don't know. I just want to support. So, but sis, tell them who you are, and maybe even talk about my brother, man. This amazing husband you got. I love this dude, man. It's a good dude.
Yeah. Well, first of all, thank you. It's a joy to be here, and super grateful just to know you and to get to do FCA ministry alongside you. I've definitely learned a lot from you in my first year. So, but yeah, I think last time I came on the podcast was before I was married. So I was Ashlyn Power. So now I'm Ashlyn Caraway. Married last December to my husband Josh, and he's the best. Super awesome, super grateful for him. So
yo, I'm gonna go ahead and pause this real quick. Like, listen, ladies, if you ever get a chance, have a conversation with Miss Ashlyn. Ask her these questions. When pursuing someone, or someone's pursuing you, how fast should I move? What questions should I ask? What should be some standards and expectations? I say this because, like, I really love how you and Josh did things. Y'all really had some clear boundaries. Like, I really love, man, like, this is a man that's after God's heart. Mm-hmm. Not saying y'all perfect, but I do think that it would be good if you see her on your campus in Arlington, in Mansfield, wherever, right? Or at church, or at D Now here, TCal, plug. Just ask her, because I truly believe that their approach to a spirit-led, God-fearing relationship that led to a marriage is something that I think would be wise for you to ask. Just like, hey, give me some wisdom. Give me some wisdom on this, because I really love how you all feared God in your relationship.
Yeah.
So, yeah.
Thank you. And yeah, I'll just add one more thing. Like, the way that Josh led me through that was such a gift. And so, like, I guess just don't settle and wait for who God has for you, because that really was such a gift for me, just to let myself be led by Josh. And as God was leading Josh, he was leading me. And so yeah, I definitely wouldn't be where I'm at without that. So yeah,
Yeah.
but I guess just how I got into FCA and just a little bit of my story. I'm from Nebraska originally and went to college out in Utah at Weber State, um, and played volleyball out there. And sports have always been just a huge part of my life and my family's life. And played volleyball out there, and then finished up my college in Corpus Christi, playing beach volleyball, and got involved in FCA on my campus there, and was discipled by the FCA rep who does what you and I do here. She was that on my college campus, and she just really poured into me. And that was probably the first time I had ever been intentionally discipled over a long period of time. And because of her pouring into me, it just really sparked something in me to want to pour into other girls like that, and to, just to be able to have conversations with them like she did with me about how to apply biblical wisdom to the situations that we face on a daily basis. And to be able to have hard conversations with and just learn from. And she also challenged me a lot, like, who are you discipling? Like, who are you pouring into? And so, she asked me to join staff with her down there, but I had met Josh and knew that we were going to move up here to the DFW area. And so she connected me with Ken Butler, who's the area director here, hopped on a call with you and Ken, and God brought me here to join the FCA team in this area. So
Praise God for Ken.
yes.
That dude right there, that's my
So
guy.
yeah, it's been such a blessing to be able to just get to know the coaches and the athletes and the girls in Mansfield and Arlington over the last year, build relationships and pour into them. So yeah.
You know what's interesting? So I'm sitting here listening to this, and I knew this story, but this is wild. So Miss Brandy, right?
Yes.
I can't remember.
Brandy
What's her last name?
Sparks. Brandy
Sparks.
Sparks.
Disciples you. And she wasn't discipling you so that you could stay, but if you could have stayed on staff there, if Josh and you weren't getting married, you'd probably still be there, right?
Mm-hmm.
So she's doing the Matthew 28, right?
Yeah. Big time.
It doesn't say make disciples so they can stay in your area and make disciples.
Mm-hmm.
It doesn't say that in the book. I don't know. I mean, that's not the one I read. So she's making disciples of all nations. This is crazy. Like it just clicked. You come here, you start discipling in Mansfield, then it starts to spread in Arlington, but you meet somebody that I know is KP. I think you see where I'm going with this. This is like Miss Brandy does not know the impact that this event that we're about to talk about, that because this does not happen without you and KP. Like it may happen. God could do it with anybody.
Right.
But the beauty of, like, y'all are getting ready to do an event that's going to bring multiple communities of young ladies together. Y'all don't go to the same church. Your circles are not the same. That's a kingdom connection that started because somebody was discipling. And we're about to see a kingdom impact. Like, that is, wow. Wow. Came here with didn't know you were going to meet KP, right? You came here just like, Lord, what are we doing? Do you really want me to work for FCA? Do you really want me to do this? And now God is going to allow you all an opportunity to help facilitate an encounter where young ladies get to be informed, educated, so that they can go back and receive discipleship at a new level. Because I believe this event is going to help them to open their eyes to God in a new way, so that when women are trying to speak into them, they're more receptive to receive discipleship and understand who they are in Christ. Yeah, man. Wow. Let's do this. I want to talk about, as we get ready to transition into this event, you were discipled by Miss Brandy. Right now on campus, we get to see some things that normally you don't even see on a Wednesday night. You don't see on a Sunday morning. even if you're on a team, there are things that sometimes we are previewed to as chaplains, character coaches, community ambassadors. There's things that we get to step into that sometimes the school counselor doesn't get to step into. There's things that we get to step into that the outside counselor that parents are paying for. Like there's conversations sometimes. I've had students that they go to counseling, but they hadn't told the counselor that, and they've told me that. And it's nothing against any of them. It's just because of proximity and consistency, because they're seeing us multiple times a week, and that creates a level of trust. And so in that, there are some things that we're previewed to, conversations, struggles, sins, you name it, soundtracks that young ladies and young men are walking through that are holding them back, holding them down, or holding them up from being able to truly walk out who God called them to be, without really sharing names, schools. But what are some of the things that young ladies are dealing with today that you've seen? I've seen numbers and statistics, but could you enlighten our viewers, even the young ladies that may be walking through saying I'm the only one, when really they don't know the percentage of some of the things they're walking through?
Yeah.
Could you just enlighten us on some of these struggles, but then also some of the statistics?
Yeah. Before I even go there, this isn't really my story to tell, but Kat Paul, KP, who you mentioned, that works at a church here in Mansfield.
I'm sorry, let's give her a full name. Catherine Paul.
Catherine Paul.
Over at Walnut Ridge.
Yes.
I'm sorry. I call my sisters by their nicknames, and, I'm sorry. Yeah.
Yes, but our girl KP, this event that we're going to talk about is really something that God put on her heart a while ago, just with the issue of body image and the way that girls see themselves and all the problems and sin struggles that come along with that. And so that's something that the Lord put on her heart, specifically that issue. And when she brought that to me, it's just so clear that that's something that we see in middle school and high school girls all the time. And she asked a simple question at her youth night once with her girls. It was a simple question, do you struggle with body image? She didn't give any definition or anything like that. And I think she said all but a couple of them said yes on their paper. And the stats are that 91% of women and girls are dissatisfied with their body. And Kat and I talk about how we think that may even be low, because I've never met a girl that on some given day doesn't struggle with looking in the mirror and not liking what she sees or wishing that she could change one little thing, even if it's not every day. I think we've all been there as girls and as women. And so when we have girls come and share with us those things, like you said, because FCA is not the church, and that's not a knock on the church, but sometimes girls do feel more comfortable opening up and sharing about things that maybe don't get talked about at their youth group or at their church, which again isn't a knock on youth pastors, but yeah, we have girls that struggle with eating disorders, that struggle with just hating the way they look, that if they could just lose 10 pounds so they could fit in their cheer uniform better. They're afraid of, putting on their spandex for a volleyball game because they don't like how their legs look, or, just consumed with what they look like, and just not looking in the mirror and not being satisfied with what they see, which breaks my heart, breaks our hearts, because as we know, we are made in the image of God.
Right.
And when God looks at you, he sees beauty and he sees beautiful. And so, it breaks my heart when girls, and I'm sure KP too, I know it does her too as well, but that when girls share the despair that they're feeling, that they feel that they have to starve themselves, or work out an excessive amount, or that they can't wear a certain thing because of how it fits, because they're seeking after this unachievable standard of beauty that they see on Instagram and TikTok, and maybe even from their friends or whatever. But yeah, it can feel very hopeless, I think, for a lot of these girls that don't know the truth about how they were made and who made them and what they were made for. Because if you think that you're just what you look like and you hate what you look like, then that can be a very dark place to be, and it can lead to very harmful things, which we also have seen. So
Yeah. It's. I think I can't speak to it from a woman's perspective, right? But I have, as you mentioned, I've found myself in these situations where young ladies have felt comfortable just sharing where they're at, and I'm like, I am not the person for you to share that with. Where's Ashlyn, right? And so I think that it is. I think you communicated correctly. Like, I don't know that, and it's not a knock on the church. I work for the church. There's only so much a leader can do. Some of the leaders have full-time jobs, and being qualified to speak into that.
Right.
Sometimes it's so deep, and they've been walking through it so long, you got to have a professional speaking into that. There's the levels of the behaviors that come behind those soundtracks that they're thinking, because it depends on when it starts as well. If it starts 7th grade and you're walking through that, with the same group of people that are your classmates, that's from 7th grade till you graduate, right? And so now you've carried that, even though, and you could be in counseling and it could still be difficult. And that's why it's important that we have people like yourself and KP and the guest speaker that we're going to talk about here in a second, in events like this for young ladies, to be able to know that they are made in the image of God, that they're beautifully and wonderfully made, and that they're made for more, right? And it's not just the Instagram posts that they see, or the commercial advertisements that could be for Burger King, but you got a lady there in a bikini. Like, is this for burgers, or are we advertising the beach? Which one are we? Is this Beaches Hotel, or is this burgers? Which one are we doing? Right? And she is like, she has a unrealistic figure. No one's going to have that until they're 90. It does not work that way. But the world, what we've done is we presented this unrealistic image of that's what everyone should be. We don't put normal people on commercials, which blows my mind, right? We find the model because what we're doing is we're trying to push more sales, right? And we fail to realize that we are damaging souls. We're damaging souls because we're making the young girl, it's a food commercial, but you have the image of someone that's promoting that looks totally different than if they were actually eating it. That makes sense? Like, it's mind-blowing. Like in Burger King or McDonald's or whoever, like, there's multiple out there that do that, right? And I don't know if they're doing it intentionally. So if you see this CEO owner, just know this is just my feelings, right? I'm not saying you're doing this intentionally, but it's confusing to when you give you another example. I'm not going to name the artist, but I just happened to be watching a game last night, and there's a particular young lady who's very famous, extremely famous, and she is doing a commercial for a company that makes jeans, I think, or I can't remember. She's in a laundromat. Oh, you saw it? And I'm like, wait, does it take all that? Like, I was like, what are we doing? Doing the most. And I'm grateful my daughter did not see that, because now that's the expectation. I have to look like this to wear those jeans, to wear that brand. What? What are we doing? And I was sitting there watching this. I'm like, I, as a man, felt like, no. And like that was a reminder of the need for for women like yourself and KP to have a burden to help our young ladies because they're faced with multiple soundtracks and reels that are telling them something that's a false narrative, something that's unachievable, and it's heartbreaking.
Yeah. And ultimately, I think like they think what they want is to look different or to be smaller or to be thinner or whatever. But like smaller arms or smaller legs, a flatter stomach, a prettier face, whatever it might be, like if you get that, it's ultimately not going to satisfy you. Because
And it's not going to last forever.
Right. Because it's temporary and because beneath that longing to look a different way is a deeper void in your heart that longs to be known and loved and accepted by Jesus Christ. And so
that's good.
I mean, getting to the standard, quote unquote, of what you want, what you think you want, I think it really just masks a lot of these body image and eating disorder struggles. I think they really just mask a deeper identity issue,
Right.
And a deeper heart issue of an emptiness that can only be filled, not with looking a different way, but with knowing Jesus, knowing your maker and your creator and what you were made for,
Right.
which is so much more than what you look like and what size you are.
You know, let's talk about these statistics that I believe help, right? So 50% of 13-year-old American girls struggle with body image issues. Raising, it gets closer to 80% by 18. This concerns me because 80% by 18 is the average age someone's going to graduate by. So now I'm going into college. If they are going into college, carrying that. And when I get to college, it becomes even more magnified sometimes. And now I have to start doing some things to numb the pain. And it may move from starving myself to sleeping around, right? Or, and I can say this because I remember, I'm not going to mention the college, mention the person because who knows who may ever see this, the person may see it. But I remember a young lady that I came across years ago. I'll say years, no one can figure it out. Years ago. And I remember learning that this individual had disordered eating, didn't have an eating disorder, but had disordered eating so that they could drink on the weekend. So would basically starve herself throughout the week and eat like once a day and eat like just a salad every single day. So that on the weekend, this individual could drink and with the hopes of not gaining weight, but the drinking was to numb the pain of the void that was never addressed.
Yeah.
And I remember when the individual started going to counseling and we start unpacking this in a random conversation, I was just like, you mean to tell me you've been walking through that for 3 years? Starving yourself for 3 years, drinking to numb the pain of something that had nothing to do with, and I was like, oh. So like seeing these numbers, the longer they go, the longer our girls go, God's children go without knowing who they are and whose they are, it becomes more dangerous.
Yeah. And I think that's part of just the heart for doing this event is to start the conversation. It's not necessarily to cure all these issues in one night. We know that that's a lot of these things take a lot of deeper work and counseling and therapy and things like that. But just starting the conversation at a younger age for these girls, like you said, so that when they continue to grow up and they're faced with just different challenges in the world that maybe they're better equipped, and also they know that they don't have to be a slave to that,
Right.
because it is like being in slavery to like your sin and your desires. And so there is freedom to be
Right.
found. There's freedom to be found in Christ. And he can set you free from the bondage of, your body image and your eating disorder and all of those things that come along with that. And so just having the opportunity to, as women, we know that there's men that struggle with this too, but as women, speaking to girls and to women, that's part of the heart of this, is just starting the conversation, creating a space to have the conversation, and to hopefully share the hope and the love of Christ into those dark places.
Yeah.
To begin that healing process.
Yeah. Yeah. I'm so happy about this. And I know you said something that people are probably like, men struggle? Yeah, absolutely. I can say that I walked through a season of life where I had disordered eating, didn't know what it was rooted in. And I found myself at times trying to starve myself, or trying to, do certain things to earn food. I'm gonna work out for 3 hours to earn, to treat myself for this. And it was just unhealthy thinking, because I wasn't happy with how I looked, and as a guy, as an athlete, you gotta have this, you gotta look like this. And if not, you're nobody, or and so what I won't do is take this opportunity to talk about my past, because this is for the ladies, but I'm just saying I wanted to just affirm that, yes, there are guys that struggle with this, and I'm glad that we have this event for young ladies, because the other piece of this, I know that there is a mental, and I just mentioned it, like there's a mental health side of this, and this part is staggering as well, right? So what's the statistic in correlation to disordered eating disorders to mental health? Like this, from what I've understood, I mean, this is no small thing.
Yeah. The statistic is that eating disorders are the second deadliest mental health disorder after opioid use, which was mind-blowing for me to find out, and just absolutely heartbreaking when you think about how often we talk about it, which is not very often.
No, not often enough. That is, and it's interesting because you could be in a room full of 1,000 people and have no idea what somebody's struggling with.
Mm-hmm.
Like you could, just because they don't look like they're strung out on crack or cocaine or hungover, like that right there could be what they're walking through, and you have no idea. So I'm excited that this opportunity is coming. I think when I think of like the story of Rahab, she was known to be a prostitute. And this isn't an exact tie-in, but like I see this story in my mind of one who was walking through a season of life. We don't know what led her into prostitution, right? And she took a risk of letting people in. And when she did that, she got freed, right?
Yeah.
And so my prayer is that a young lady that may be in bondage to something will allow you all in, will allow this event or the words that are spoken by, what's our guest speaker's name?
Her name is Nicoletta Bradley.
Nicoletta. And
Yes.
so my prayers is that when maybe she's speaking, maybe they're hearing from God, and they begin to let God in a new way, so that they can experience freedom from bondage, just like Rahab did. She took a risk. She took a risk and said, you know what? I don't want to live like this anymore. I don't want to live a life where I'm living in sin and I'm living in hiding. I'm living in shame. I want to allow someone in, and because of that, she became free. And so my prayer is this event, which we're going to talk about the details, like this event, that young ladies, that you show up and you just say, I'm coming with an expectation to allow God in so that I can become free within. And so tell us a little about, when the event is. We maybe even give some details on, her Instagram.
Yes.
Just kind of, the founder owner, I guess she would be, in location, time. Just give us some details.
Yeah. So the event is called Made for More. And it's on December 10th, which is a Tuesday. The doors open at 6:30 and we'll start like the event at 7. And it's at Crossroads Church. And it'll be in their youth building called The Landing. Yeah. So, which is really cool. They have a really cool space back there, which I think will be great. We'll be led by an all-girl worship band.
Let's go.
Which is going to be so cool. Super excited for that. That is going to be made up of women from many different churches in Mansfield and Arlington.
I love that.
So this event isn't put on by a church or by FCA or by a person, but it's put on by women whose hearts are broken for the girls that have these struggles and want to see.
That's kingdom.
Want to see just redemption. And so it's going to be really awesome.
Does
Kingdom
it cost?
event. No, it's free. It's free to attend. Okay. We do have an Instagram. You can follow Made for More on Instagram. Okay. There'll be link to register. It is free, but we do ask that you register if you can, just so we get a count of how many people we're going to have.
Okay.
And then our speaker will be Nicoletta Bradley. Like we said, she is super awesome. We're super grateful that we get to have her come speak to us. She is the founder, owner of Noble Fitness Ministries. She does a lot at TCU in Fort Worth, and she hosts fitness retreats for girls. And her ministry is all about breaking free from body image and eating disorders. And the reason that she also has a podcast, she's a co-host of a podcast called Call Her Holy, and it's a great resource for girls. I listen to it and am always very encouraged and uplifted by it. And so would recommend that podcast to anyone as well, especially for young women. But the reason that we're so excited and grateful that we get to have her is you're talking about just vulnerability and the power of opening up and sharing your story. And she does have the testimony of battling with every kind of eating disorder and body image struggle and wrestling through that. And so she has a unique perspective and testimony and way that she's able to share. And just the way that the Holy Spirit speaks through her is so evident that he has just changed her and touched her. And there's just so much power in her testimony when someone has walked through something like that and they can share the freedom that they've found. And like Revelation says, the enemy is defeated by the blood of the Lamb and the word of our testimony. And
yes.
So her testimony is just so awesome. So she's going to be sharing with us just about how we were made for more. And we'll have a couple fun things to do, like build your own flower bouquet and stuff like that. And so that's pretty much, that's Made for More.
What age group?
Yeah, it's for 7th to 12th grade girls. Okay. Middle school and high school girls in the community, Mansfield, Arlington, is where we're really pushing it. But
if somebody drives 2 hours, you're not going to turn them away.
Anybody is welcome.
If you fly in from like London, you're welcome. You're welcome.
That'd be crazy. Yeah. But yeah, anybody's welcome. Any girl.
So do y'all need like volunteers? What if someone's like, man, I just want to come serve. I just want to, I'm an adult. I'm a college student, or maybe I'm a mom, and I just want to. I support that. I love that. Yeah. Can I just come help? Do y'all need volunteers or?
Yeah, we will need some volunteers. Part of the program, there will be a response time, a time for girls to come forward and pray with leaders and people. And so we are gathering volunteers from churches and from the community to be available to help during that response time to pray, and also just set up, tear down, all of that kind of stuff. Right. It's been really cool to see the Lord's faithfulness, especially through Kat. Like, KP. She's been it's been such an encouragement to me because
Catherine Paul. They're like, who is Kat? Who's KP?
she has been so obedient
Yeah.
to the Lord, and she's like, I don't know what I'm doing, but we're doing it. And she's being like obedient, and God has just been so faithful to, like, she takes the next step of obedience, and then he shows her what's next, and then she takes the next step. And so we don't know what we're doing. We don't have it all figured out. But we want to be faithful in the space that the Lord has kind of shown us. And so, if you want to help and volunteer, if you have any ideas in any way, like we love that. We're so open to that.
I love that. I love that. That is so cool. I think it's, I love that the founder, she has a heart to combine God's word and fitness, like 1 Timothy 4 talks about, for physical training is of some benefit. It does not say no benefit. Mm-hmm. All right. But spiritual training is beneficial now and then, and so combining the two, I have a huge respect and passion for that, because I think that one of the things that we probably could do better in is just combining the two, educating and providing resources. And it sounds like she's going to be doing that, and so I'm excited just to see the fruit that's going to come from the seeds sown and watered on that night. And I believe that God is already working. And as you said, like, I've had conversations with her, and she's like, "You're not going to believe this," and I'm like, God is moving.
Yeah.
Like, to see that, and you probably know what I'm talking about. When we talk about it, I'm just like, wow, come on, let's go. That's how you know that God has his hand on it.
Yeah.
And so, man, I've been pumped about it, even though I can't be there. Again, I might just direct traffic from the freeway, and just be out there pulling. If there's a girl, like, get her in there. Go get her in there. Yeah. But yeah, I'm excited. I'm thankful that God has brought you here. It's been an absolute honor and blessing to work with you and partner with KP and just the kingdom mindsets, right?
Yeah.
All of this is, again, to have a collaboration, a kingdom collaboration. I'm probably going to add that one in there now. A kingdom collaboration of churches that is like, hey, it's not just my church. You're doing it at a church, and it's not their worship team, right? It's not their speaker. It's not their pastor speaking.
Yeah. So
you have someone speaking from somewhere else. You got a collaboration of different churches that are going to be singing on the worship team. You're going to have a collaboration of different churches there for response time, for serving, for setting up, for tearing down. That's kingdom. And I love that, because just like on this, the whole purpose of this podcast is to talk about that, is to make sure we're doing things like this in the community where it's not about my church. I show up with, just a flag to say, this is my event. No, we have to have a kingdom mindset, because a kingdom mindset leads to kingdom connections. Kingdom connections lead to kingdom relationships, and kingdom relationships turn into kingdom impact. And I just know that God is about to move in this thing. And so I'm excited. It can't get here fast enough. Y'all got like 3 weeks, 2.5, 3 weeks, something like that.
It's
right around the
up.
corner.
Yeah.
Yes. So, hey, check this out. This is, we're about to land this plane. So I just want to say thank you again, sis, for coming and giving us that information. And we are excited to see what God is getting ready to do for Made for More. December 10th, 6 doors open at 6:30.
Yep.
Right. It's a free event, 7th through 12th. It's going to be at Crossroads Church off of 360. Listen, pull up. If you are within, I don't know, 1,000 miles, 1,000 miles,
Hey.
you need to be there. And look, students, young ladies, this does not interfere with the Wednesday night, right? Very strategic. I love it, right? They're not doing it on Wednesday night where it interferes with youth group. So if you're listening to this, because we're getting ready to land this plane, I want to make sure this is the last thing you hear. December 10th, 6:30, 7th through 12th, Crossroads Church Landing Building, Made for More. Please show up. It's free. Go follow the IG. Go and even look up the speaker's info. Just if you go to her IG, you can learn more about her. But I believe that this is going to be life-changing. And so thank you for showing up today, for hanging out with us today. We're truly grateful for this conversation, and I'm excited to see what God is getting ready to do. Don't forget that keeping it kingdom is not just a saying, it is a lifestyle. This is your boy. This is your host, Sylvester Stimley. And this is my sis, Ashlyn Caraway. No longer Ashlyn Power. All right? She is Ashlyn Caraway. But she still got power in her blood, though. Comes from that power family. Powers.
The power of Jesus.
Powers. All right. Listen, we love you. We thank you. And we're excited just to see what God is getting ready to do with this thing.
Yeah.
And I think this is what I think we should do. Maybe after the event, we have you and KP on and we just talk about what God did.
Yeah.
Right. But
Awesome.
God have you come back and just share, because I think sometimes there may be an event that happens and people don't understand the impact, right? So we talk about the connections, but we sometimes don't get to highlight the impact. And so we won't go into super detail, reveal people's information, but I think it'll be good for those that are connected to be able to just know God's impact that has happened. And so until next time, hey, thank you for hanging out with us. We will see you soon. Peace.